Hello, everyone. Welcome to this talk. Today, I'm going to talk about generative AI for drug discovery, promises and challenges we have. My name is Yanshan Wang. I'm a Vice Chair of Research and Assistant Professor in Health Informatics at the University of Pittsburgh. I'm also the current Chair of the Natural Language Processing Working Group at the American Medical Informatics Association. So despite recent advancement in drug development, biopharma research in drug R&D remains very expensive and time-consuming. The AI-driven drug discovery industry has grown significantly over the past decade, fueled by new entrants in the market, significant capital investment, and technology maturation. Investment in emerging AI-driven drug discovery has increased for a decade. And the growth in the AI-driven drug discovery space has caught the attention of established biopharma companies and many biotech startups. There has been a rapid rise in partnership between the traditional biopharma companies and AI-driven drug companies and biotech companies. There are nearly 270 companies working in the AI-driven drug discovery industry, and more than 50% of the companies based in the United States. So AI, and particularly generative AI, has brought great promise to drug discovery. But is AI for drug discovery a hype or a hope? Today, I'm going to distill the hope from hype for this trend. So this is a typical drug discovery cycle. It takes up to 15 years and average of total R&D investment of $1.5 to $2 billion to bring a single new drug to the market. About half of this investment is spent on clinical trials, with the phase 3 trials being the most complex and most expensive. Probabilities of successful compounds to proceed through the clinical trial stages vary from phase to phase. They usually lead to a situation where only 1 of 10 compounds entering clinical trials advances to FDA approval. And high clinical trial failure rates are also one major cause for the prevailing inefficiency of the drug development cycle. The application of AI can greatly accelerate the entire process of drug discovery and development, substantially increasing the efficacy and reducing the cost of drug discovery. A report by Forbes suggests that AI can reduce the discovery period for new drug candidates from 2 to 3 years to an average of just 7 months. In another report by McKinsey, AI could reduce the time required to discover and develop new drug from more than 10 years to 1/10 of that time, which is less than a year. As for the cost, a report by Forbes suggests that AI has the potential to curb drug discovery costs for pharma companies by nearly 70%. And another report says that AI could reduce costs in R&D by as much as $26 billion annually. So AI could assist every drug discovery phase, from early drug discovery to late post-market surveillance. And now I'm going to go over some of the promises of AI, particularly generative AI, in drug discovery. So AI could assist almost every single step of drug discovery, from early drug discovery to late post-market surveillance. So there are about 2,700 known potential drug target proteins in the human body, and about 9,600 FDA-approved small molecular drugs. AI can be used to identify the targeted protein to predict the drug target interactions and binding affinity, and to optimize the properties of molecule. And generative AI models can be employed to design new molecules, and small molecules and big molecules. NLP, the natural language processing, can be used to mine the existing scientific literature for drug discovery, drug repurposing. FDA review reports and post-market reports are also written in free text, which can be analyzed by natural language processing techniques. So now let's dive into some specific applications of AI in drug development. So in drug discovery, AI needs to leverage the existing dataset to learn and predict potential therapeutic compounds effectively. It involves analyzing vast amounts of data from past research, including chemical properties, biologically interactions, and clinical trial outcomes. There are a number of free and open access database for drug discovery. Here are some representative database people can use publicly available. So Campbell is a manual curated database that currently contains more than 2 million compounds. ChemDB is a freely accessible database that contains nearly 5 million commercially available small molecules. And DrugBank is a free-to-access reference drug database containing more than 14,000 drugs, along with the comprehensive information about drug-drug interaction, drug target association, drug classification, and drug reactions. And if you are working in the computational field in drug discovery, you will interact with those databases. Of course, there are a lot of more database, private databases that may be commercially available to a lot of biopharma companies. The compound stored in this database could be zero-dimensional descriptor, which is the simplest molecular representation indicating the molecular weight, atom numbers, etc., etc. Or 1D descriptor that encode the drug in coordinates with their substructures, such as the SMILE string, which is a string of the characters. The compound representation could be 2D descriptors, which usually are graphs or molecular fingerprint. And 3D descriptor includes more information, such as the spatial and geometrical information. However, as we mentioned earlier, similar to natural language, this representation cannot be directly used in AI models. So we have to learn machine-readable representation of those molecules in machine learning algorithms for drug discovery. A hot topic recently is to use a large language model, which is a typical model in generative AI that try to generate text. But those large language models can be used to learn molecular representations. So for example, the SMILE BERT, which is based on a language model called BERT, but designed for molecular analysis. So this model is pre-trained on large-scale unlabeled data through a mask SMILE's recovery task. So it will enhance the adaptability of the BERT models. SMILE BERT demonstrated superior performance in molecular property prediction. After learning the representations of the molecules, we can use this representation in different AI models, such as supervised model for classification in different drug discovery tasks. So drug repurposing or drug repositioning is one of the tasks that aims to use AI to discover new medical indications for an approved or investigational drug. As the dosing and the safety of the drug are well studied, clinical trials can be accelerated, and it will significantly reduce the development time and the cost. So therefore, it is not surprising that nowadays, about 30% of newly approved drugs are repositioned drugs in the US. A widely used approach is to systematically analyze a vast amount of scientific literature to identify potential new uses for existing drugs. This approach leverages natural language processing algorithms to mine published studies, clinical trial data, and other relevant publications. By analyzing the patterns, relationships, and association within the data, researchers can uncover some insights that suggest alternative therapeutic applications for new drugs. And since these are existing drugs which already have clinical profiles, like pharmacokinetic or pharmacodynamic and toxicity, those clinical profiles, those drugs can rapidly enter large-stage clinical trials and significantly reduce development cost and time. Drug repurposing knowledge graph, or DRKG, is a comprehensive biological knowledge graph relating the genes, compounds, disease, biologically processed side effects, and symptoms information extracted from the literature or knowledge base. DRKG includes 97,000 entities extracted from the literature. It also includes a bunch of Python libraries about how to explore and analyze the DRKG using statistical methodologies or using machine learning methodologies such as knowledge graph embedding. So NLP, natural language processing techniques, and knowledge graph have been very important in drug discovery because the primary source of information on target associated with the disease is in the literature. NLP can be used to identify relevant target disease pairs from the literature and develop a knowledge graph for target identification. So in this study, the authors constructed a biomedical knowledge graph for drug repurposing on PubMed and the COVID-19 research literature. Many biotech companies have developed platforms to deliver such knowledge graph and information extracted from the biomedical literature. So for example, several companies like Tempus, Inference Insight, Concert AI's RWD 330, those are all examples of existing startup companies' platforms. Another application in drug discovery is targeted discovery or target identification, which is a critical initial step in the process of developing new therapeutic drugs. It involves identifying and validating the biological target, typically a protein that is associated with a particular disease or pathological condition. Target discovery and verification is a very complex process, and AI can analyze various types of data, including gene expression profiles, protein-protein interaction networks, and genomic and proteomic data to identify protein targets that are likely to be involved in the disease pathway. The first step in identifying a target is to establish a causal relationship between the target and the disease, which can be identified using knowledge graphs. And several biotech companies has been pioneers in target identification using AI. Insitical Medicine introduced a platform called iPanda platform. So this method is effective and reliable for finding disease biomarkers using genetic data. iPanda works by combining existing data on how genes work together with information about how important certain genes are based on how much their activity changes in different conditions. It also breaks down the ways the signals move through those paths to calculate pathway scores indicating how active these paths are. The score usually composed of omics AI score, which is a comprehensive evaluation of omics data, or text-based AI score, which actually evaluate the text structure from the literature. There are some many other scores like finance scores or target family score, drug, potential to be a drug, scores. So another application of drug discovery is ADMET, prediction. So AMIA stands for absorption, distribution, metabolism, elimination, and toxicity. So these properties are important for the efficacy and safety of the drug candidates. Although lots of in trivial ADMET screens are available, being able to predict some of these properties in silico is valuable. And nowadays, computational ADMET in combination with in vivo and in vitro prediction as early as possible in the drug discovery process can help to reduce the number of safety issues. And in this related study, when the molecular representation are embedded as the fingerprint, traditional machine learning and deep learning models can be used to predict metabolic stability. And when the molecular representation are formed as a graph, the graph convolutional neural network can be used to predict metabolic stability. Protein structure prediction is also crucial for drug discovery because it enables understanding of proteins' function and interaction sites, which is essential for displaying the effective and targeted therapeutic drugs. And recent deep learning models have dramatically improved accuracy and speed of the protein structure prediction. And particularly algorithms like AlphaFold, developed by Google DeepMind, and RoseTTA-Fold, use deep neural networks to predict protein structures with a very accurate, close to the experimental methods. So they analyze an amino acid sequence of protein and predict its 3D structure. And those new methods represent a paradigm shift in protein structure prediction, making it faster, more accurate, and accessible. And which in return, accelerate drug discovery and our understanding of the biological process. And also there are many different companies, startups in this domain to predict protein structure. Generative AI has shown great promise in accelerating and improving drug discovery process. Generative AI models can create new data samples based on the patterns found in their training data, which can help to unveil novel molecular structures or drug candidates. And then generative AI can be used in de novo drug design to generate novel molecular structures, optimize drug designs, and facilitate de novo drug design. Generative AI can also be used to identify new targets for drug discovery. As we mentioned earlier, a lot of new drugs can be used. AI can also facilitate clinical trials of the new developed drugs. We all know that randomized clinical trials are fundamental to drug discovery. However, clinical trial recruitment remains the biggest barrier to clinical and translational research. And based on a recent article, 85% of clinical trials fail to find enough to recruit enough patients, and only 3 to 5% of cancer patients participate in clinical trials, although there are up to 20% of patients are eligible. Clinical trial consume, half of the 10 to 15 years, or $1.5 to $2 billion during the drug development, from drug development to go to the new target. AI can be used to reshape those key steps of clinical trial design towards increasing trial success rate. So AI could leverage those vast amounts of data in the electronic health record to automatically screen patients and recruit patients to the clinical trials. Many companies and platforms are developing and offering these AI-based solutions and contribute to a more streamlined, data-driven approach in clinical trial management and patient recruitment. And recent advancement in generative AI and large language models like ChatGPT has provided new promise to shape the clinical trials in various ways. For example, ChatGPT can be used to generate preliminary research protocols or drug trial design outlines, which can be then refined by experts. And ChatGPT can also automate the pre-screening patients by assessing clinical trial criteria. And also ChatGPT can assist in drafting informed consent forms and making those more understandable to patients. In this specific study, the authors provide how a new model called the Trial GPT process clinical trial criteria and aggregate the result to find trials for patient. This kind of technique is still very new and trivial, but it is providing new promise. So after drug go to the market, AI can also play a vital role in the phase by analyzing real-world data to do the post-market surveillance. So, for example, this analysis can help in identifying some adverse drug reactions, effectiveness in different population subgroups. So, at the end of the talk, I want to emphasize a few challenges people may face in AI, applying AI in drug discovery. The first challenge will be the availability of high-quality data, which is the key to have successful AI models for the drug discovery. We all know that the garbage in, garbage out principle, the poor quality of input data will always result in poor quality output or poor quality AI models. Although the amount of biological and chemical data is increasing, the issue of poor data quality hinders the full use of this data for AI. And moreover, the scarcity of well-annotated chemical and molecular data compounds, also increase this challenge and limiting the ability of AI models to learn effectively and to produce reliable and accurate predictions in drug discovery. So that's why this highlights the need in current biotech industry for rigorous data management, data quality assessment, and ensure the reliability and usefulness of AI in those critical fields. Data privacy is another significant challenge. For example, do biotech companies want to upload sensitive data to external servers like those of OpenAI or those large language model servers? Even with assurance that those data will not be viewed or misused, the risk of data breach remains a concern. It is vital for those companies to implement comprehensive strategies to avoid potential risk associated with data privacy and security. Another challenge of AI in drug discovery is the issue of generalizability, and primarily due to the existence of different data standards. So data collected and recorded in various formats, standards, and protocols can significantly hinder the ability of AI to generate findings across different data sets. So this inconsistency can lead to models that are highly specialized for specific data, but lack the ability to apply their learning more broadly. So even though generative AI shows promise in drug discovery, several challenges are still associated with its application. For example, hallucination, factor reference, ethics, and bias reasoning. Those issues need to be carefully evaluated and addressed when used for drug discovery. To address the ethical concerns related to generative AI, in this paper recently published by my group and accepted by NPG, Nature NPG Digital Medicine, we propose greatly ethical principles, including governance, reliability, equity, accountability, traceability, privacy, lawfulness, empathy, and autonomy. So all those principles to apply generative AI in the life sciences. And despite the progress and the significant investment in AI-based drug discovery, only a few AI-generated drugs have reached human clinical trials. Most AI companies and AI pharmaceutical companies have been established in the last 10 years, and it remains to see how this effective AI for drug discovery will translate to successful drug development and drugs and clinical outcomes. So given this context, a more pragmatic approach will be the most effective use of AI in drug discovery will be the tool to augment the use of AI to augment human experts in drug discovery. So at the end, thank you for listening to this presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.